Good evening and welcome to the June edition of the Town of Kent Zoning Board of Appeals. Before we begin, please rise and join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have two applications up for review this evening, and I believe a set of minutes to approve from the May meeting. So let's get underway. The first application to be reviewed is that of Kevin McBride, 30 Horton Road, Kent Lakes. How are you, Mr. McBride? And I'd like to remind everyone that if you have those receipts from the return receipt mail receipts, please bring them up. Thank you.
Sure.
I am representing
Before, did you sign in? And just make sure you're speaking into the microphone so the folks at home can hear you.
I'm representing Kevin McBride, owner of 30 Horton Road in Lake Carmel. This is in reference to a pre-existing shed. He is requesting an area variance of 7.3 feet in the rear of the yard. The zoning is 20 feet. He has 12.7 feet currently. 5 questions for an area variance. First one, whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant. No, the shed would be a serious hardship to move. 2, undesirable change to the neighborhood character. No, many sheds are in the rear of the yard in Lake Carmel. 3, is the request substantial? No, only 7.3 feet are required in the rear of the yard. 4, whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental effects? No, none at all. And 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. This is a hard one since the owner was the one who put it there. He was unaware of the setback requirements and he didn't know he needed a permit.
Okay. I have been out to the location and I took a look at the shed, and strangely enough, it's the next property over has a large shed, or garage or whatever. But for me, I don't see any particular issue with it. I'll open up to the board members.
I don't have any issue.
No issue here.
With that in mind, do I have a motion to approve this application?
I'll make the motion.
Wait. Would you like to speak on behalf?
I would like to speak, I am the person next door, next to your, on the property that you're representing, you know.
My apologies. Come on up, please. You have to come up to the microphone, sign in, and speak.
Yeah, I sent an email before, in case I wasn't able to come because I was in New York, so I came today in the morning to see the application that was presented just now. My name is Elva Schenkman, and I understand that you received an email from me the last Monday or
Did
Tuesday.
you sign in? Did you sign in on the sheet?
No, I haven't.
Mr. Chairman, while this lovely woman is signing in, I don't think it's in reference to this property.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
what I
to
was-
the next
that's what I was
property.
just
So let's double check, so we don't waste her time.
No, it's in reference to the existing structure.
No, I don't think so.
I
think
believe
so.
it's the next
Yeah.
item on the agenda that she wants to speak to, not the Horton property.
Yeah, I think you're
I'm
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'll let her sign in. Ma'am, this is not the application for 306 Clarkston Court. Is that what you wish to speak on?
No, I wanted to ask some questions to the person that built the shed because my property, collision to the shed back, I think, at this moment. I
Okay,
don't
so
know if
you're on Horton Road?
I am in Nelson Court, 19 Nelson Court.
Ma'am, if I may, this is not the one that you're referencing to. We're going to get that to the next one. It's the second item on the agenda. If we could just get through this gentleman's first location, then you'll be able to speak
Come
on
on.
the other
Ah, okay,
application,
okay,
okay? If
okay,
you could just give
thanks.
us a couple of minutes, okay?
Okay, so I left my signature here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep, we'll have you come back up momentarily, okay?
Thank you. Okay, so regarding this current application at 30 Horton, there's no further comment. Do I have a 34 Horton Road, do I have a motion to approve this application?
Yes, I have a first, a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you can follow up with the building department.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Holly, I know this is a little far-fetched, and forgive me, the owner, there's something on his property that I would be interested in talking to him about. Is he available? Okay, I'll catch up with you later, then.
got it.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next item up on the agenda is that of Susan Tasafas. I hope I didn't hurt that name too much. 306 Clarkson Court, Lake Carmel.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello?
Let me sign in. You all see the sketches I put up there?
No, that's fine. We can
Okay.
see it.
All right. Basically, as we discussed at the work session about a week or so ago, this is an application to put a.
Before we
Shed-
begin, do you have any additional
Oh
receipts
no,
for us?
I'm glad you asked that. So far, I've gotten none back.
Okay.
But as soon as I do, I'll bring them to either to Bill or to Vera.
Okay.
So they've been mailed, you just haven't?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
they were mailed. Yes.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Oh, really? Anyway, this is an application to put a shed on a piece of property that is physically impossible to put a septic system or a well on it. What I'd like to do is just hand these out. Thank you.
If you can give them to me, I'll just pass them down.
Sir?
Okay. This is basically from the deed of the property that Suzanne bought. And it shows that this particular subdivision, these lots were approved back in 1930. And according to, I discussed this with Bill this morning, and apparently zoning did not come into effect in the town of Kent until about 1938.
37 and then 38.
Okay. Well, actually, obviously, it was about 7 or 8 years after this subdivision was approved. Back in those days, situations were different. The Putnam County Health Department did not come into effect until 1970, believe it or not. So that, in effect, these lots were approved based on no zoning, because there was no zoning when this was approved. Basically, the situation is as follows. This is the lot, as you can see, surrounded in the purple, and this is a picture of the lot looking from Clarkson Court, looking back, and as you can see back far, I'm sure you did on your site inspection, to see that there's a house in this area over here. Basically, there is obviously several criteria, 4 criteria that are required for a use variance. And again, just before I go through that, this is the picture. This is the plan of the floor plan of the building, which is basically 12 by 24. This is the sketch from the company that is going to provide the unit. Give you some idea of what it looks like. Actually, if you look closely, it looks like a little mini house. But let's just go over the criteria. Okay, the first one, of course, is under the applicable zoning regulations, the applicant is deprived of all economic use or benefit of the property. Obviously, there's no way, based on today's requirements for zoning and for the health department, that a septic or a well can be put on this property. So I think that there is an economic hardship. It's the alleged hardship is related to property, and to the property in question is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or the neighborhood. Well, again, these lots were approved back in 1930, and zoning didn't come into effect until about 1937, 38. So in effect, based on today's situation with the health department and so on and so forth, there's no way that a house can be put on this particular piece of property. And that the requested variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Well, as you did see on your site inspection, it is extremely heavily wooded, as you can see from here. This is the corner between Clarkson Court and Clarkson's Road, and basically there'll be a driveway coming up to here. The unit itself meets all the setback requirements, so there's no problem there. And as I mentioned before, if you look at it closely, it's got a little dormer up here. It's got sliding glass doors here, and basically looks like one of these mini houses. So I think as far as meeting the criteria of the neighborhood, I don't think that's a problem. It's extremely heavily wooded. There are a lot of trees, and Suzanne has no intention of taking down those trees, and the heavily wooded section of the property will remain, except for the driveway and for the 12 by 20 shed that she wants to put on there. So I don't think this project will at all essentially change the character of the neighborhood. And the last one, which is the interesting one, is the alleged hardship has not been self-created. Well, it has not been self-created because, as you saw from the deed, this subdivision was approved in 1930, and the lot was the lot. And based on today's zoning and health department requirements, what's changed is the fact that you can't put a house on it. So it's not been self-created by my client. It's self-created because of the way the subdivision was laid out, and therefore the only thing that can be put on this property is a shed, which will again have the look of what I call a mini house. So I think that in that respect we've met the criteria, and basically Suzanne also, her was it your father? Grandfather was a longtime resident of Lake Carmel and had a house here, all year-round house. So she's very familiar with the neighborhood and has known about it obviously since she was a child. So I think right now I'd like to answer any questions if you have.
Well, we've had an opportunity to go out and visit the parcel, and we're quite familiar with it. I don't know if I agree with you that the hardship isn't self-created. When was this parcel purchased? What year?
2020.
Okay. So it was a few years after 1930, you know?
Yes.
To me, well, before we go into this any further, is anyone here who would like to speak on behalf of this application
Or against it.
or against it? Come on up, please. Ma'am, if I may, are you Mrs. Shankman?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. All right, so
Sorry that I keep right.
this is the lady.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I had asked you some questions in my email in case I couldn't make it today, but I was able to do it. I wanted to meet the people, that we're going to be.
I'm just going to ask you to speak loudly and
Okay.
clearly and into the mic.
So basically, I wanted to see the height, of the shade. It was going to be too wide, that I can see it from my property and interrupt the view. They say that it's heavily wooded. Yes, there's a lot of trees there. Some of them had fallen in my boundary, my property. But luckily now it's cleaner. The question also is about drains, how is this going to be built, on what platform basis? Because there's not going to be a septic or any kind of, use as a house. It's only for the storage, I understand that. If that is going to influence in the drain of the water or the rains, and so on, because I think that their property is a little bit higher than my property level. So I'm afraid that they are going to change the drain of the waters, and I don't want to have a flooding towards the area where I have, the front of the house that I own. I am in 19 Nelson Court, so I'm in the immediate neighbor, to their property. And the house that I have is just very small, I use it for calming, for coming there and spending summer there, and enjoying sometimes. So the other question that I had is going to be any noise and, what type of storage is going to be going on there. I wanted to know that because, as I said, if it's going to be too much noise, I don't know the storage of what type of material. It's not my business, but I wanted to know about the level of noise, that's going to be coming from that area. And then I think that also the material they're going to use, if it's going to be a material that is going to be proper and in tune with their woods. They say that they will try to be very, very appealing, in the sense that it's not going to contrast too much with the area. But they're going to put glass doors. I don't know. There's their decoration, their sensibility. Pretty much I'm concerned about the height, the distances with my property, because they're going to drain probably waters, from the rain. And also I have another home that in the back of my property that came in there without me being there before, so it's very close to my property, and all the drain of their property comes to my back, or my area where I had my garden before. So I have several floodings coming from their property, because of that closeness, Their variance is very small. It's like about 9 feet from my property, and I don't want to have another problem, with another structure coming too close to my limits. That's the two things that I'm very concerned.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
So, Mr. Greenberg, as I was saying,
Can I just respond to some of these comments?
sorry?
Respond to them?
Sure.
I think that appropriate. First thing, she talked about the height of the building. The height of the building will be no more than the 8 feet, which is a normal height for ceilings in a house. Because of the size of the building, the peak of the roof will probably be no more than maybe 2 to 3 feet at the most. So you're talking about 8, so it's about 11 feet. As far as the structure itself, I discussed this with Bill Walters. If this is approved, this will have a concrete slab with footings down to the frost line, which is in this area is 3 foot 6 inches. Talking about drain, we're talking about, again, a 10 by 20 structure. Of course, it'll have gutters and leaders coming down. And again, because of the size of the structure, the amount of water coming down, those drains will be minimal, number one. Number two, she talked about the closeness to her property. As you see, this is the property over here. It is facing onto Clarkson Road, and we are at least 20, 40, 60, probably from any property. Well, of course, this is Clarkson Court, this is Clarkson Road. So the only property we're talking about is a property over here, and it's at least minimum of 60 feet. And as I said before, we meet all the setback requirements. 13 feet to Clarkson Court, 15 feet to Clarkson Road. And again, there, if you look, again, if you, obviously you've seen the site, this will all be natural, which is going to remain. The only thing that's going to be changing is a driveway and the 10 by 20 area. The trees and all the foliage that you see there now, except for any trees in this area, which would have to come down to put the structure up, there'll be no change. And basically, as I said, we are close to the roads, so we're not near any neighbor's house. The house over here is way, as you can see from here, is way back over here, which is at least 60, 70 feet away from this structure. And again, we're facing onto Clarkson and onto Clarkson Court. So that I don't think that would be a problem for this neighbor. And the last thing was, yes, she said it was too close, but as I said, the zoning does not require it. We're far, 3, 4, 5 times the setback requirements. As I said, it's over 60 feet into the house, probably more like 70 feet. So I think in that respect, we're
Well,
in good shape.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remark that, you're aware of the requirements.
Yes, of course.
To get an area variance, and it's very difficult. And I, for one, don't agree that this was regarding the hardship issue, but I'll open it up to board members.
Yeah, I was going to, I think this discussion is moot because of the larger issue of a use variance. Andy, you found a advertisement at the time that was so, I don't want to misquote you, so.
Yeah, no, to me, the self-created hardship is a showstopper here. I mean, candidly, I don't think we have the power to give the variance, even if we wanted to give the variance, because unlike an area variance, the prior one, where whether or not something was self-created is a factor to be considered, but not dispositive.
Correct.
For a use variance, there are 4 criteria, and all of them have to be satisfied for us to even have the power to do it. And there is case law that says, and I'm quoting now, a hardship is considered self-imposed if the variance applicant purchased the property subject to the restrictions. So if your client owned the property in 1929, I would agree with you. Somebody who owned it in 1929, it was not self-created. Somebody who purchased it a few years ago, it was self-created. So I just don't think we have the authority to do this.
Okay.
Mr. Greenberg, if I may, I wanted to allude to 2 other questions that this neighbor asked in reference to noise, as well as the type of house or type of storage shed. So I just wondered if you could kind of allude to those 2 questions she proposed to, noise and the type.
Well, again, as far as the type of structure is standard 2x4s, 2x6 studs, 2x6 rafters, so that's normal construction. The floor, again, will be a concrete floor down to the force line, so there's no movement. As far as noise is concerned, this will only be used, very rarely. I mean, maybe a couple of times a week, mostly on weekends. And as I said, we're facing the 2 roads, and the nearest neighbor, again, I'll just repeat myself. This is where the shed is. Again, here's Clarkson Road, Clarkson Court, Clarkson Road. And as I said, the nearest, and I mean, if you think about the houses in Lake Carmel, I don't think there are any 2 houses that are more than 60 feet apart. And so as far as the noise is concerned, I don't think that's an issue at all.
So you also mentioned, if I may, something about putting in a driveway, and I'd like to revert to the building inspector, Mr. Walters. Is that something that needs to go before the planning board if that's the attempt in the future?
They would have to obtain a driveway permit from the highway department.
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate that. And the other thing I wanted to mention that I'm very resistant to is we haven't received any of your return receipts from the post office. And I just have the feeling that there may be the potential of other residents out there in the surrounding area they're not aware. I mean, obviously it's a public notice, I understand that. But in writing, to come in and either be for or against your client. So I'm a little reserved as to move forward with this.
I can appreciate that, so I would like to ask the board to hold this over to the next meeting so we can, if there is any other input, and I will further look into what you had said with regard to the self-created hardship. So if you could hold it over, I'd appreciate that.
Question for the board, or rather for Mr. Greenberg.
Sure.
Do you have the mailing certificates from the post office that you mailed them out?
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yes, I have them, yes.
Okay.
I can drop them off tomorrow.
You don't have them with you?
No, they said just the green cards, and so far I haven't got any green cards back, but we'll hold this thing over, and I'll get, if anything comes in the mail tomorrow, I'll bring them over, but I'll bring also the white paper too, so you know exactly who these notices were mailed to.
So, final comment to my fellow board members. Again, I've stated my case. I absolutely agree with you, Andy, as far as meeting the criteria. And I don't know that we need to actually hold over, but I'll leave that in the purview of this
I agree with
board.
that.
Well, I really would appreciate that. I mean, you brought up certain points. I think I should have the opportunity to at least try to address them.
The fact that, and to Bobby's point, that he was concerned that there may be someone who would like to comment on this property. You didn't bring the receipts of the mailing, so if you had those cards, if you had those applications, then that would, without a doubt, show the board, and we can enter it into the record, that you did indeed send those out to the applicants, and they've had a reasonable amount of time to respond. I mean, the lady right here, she's here, so she received it.
Of course.
She responded, but getting back to your point, you said you were concerned that there may be more people, and I think if there's a chance that there are maybe more people, whether or not this board, how this board feels or how the members of the board feel, I think these people have a right to be heard. So with that in mind, I am going to hold over this application
Thank you very much.
until next month, and then you can bring the required.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll drop them off. If I get any tomorrow or the next day, I'll bring them in. But I'll bring also the white cards too, to show exactly who we mailed it to.
Would hurt, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, do I have a motion to hold this over till the next meeting?
Vivian's going to make that motion?
Yes, I will.
Have a second? Do I have a second?
All right, I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
We're holding over, I guess.
Yep.
I'd say I'm not in favor, but
Okay. Let's do this again, just to cover ourselves. I'm not even sure we need to have a vote on this issue. So, Vera, you want to poll everyone, please?
Okay. I've got holding it over.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you, I can't.
I'll start. Can I start, Vera?
Yeah,
would be okay.
Mr. Butler.
Bosworth, yeah. I would say no,
Okay.
and then,
Mr.
I'll reluctantly say yes if you want to find some case law that's contrary to what I found, but
Thank you very
based on
much.
what I found, I would, have to say what I said.
Mr. Mochio,
Yes.
Mr. Ulick.
No.
Okay. Ms. Gerardo.
Yes?
I just hold on a minute.
Vivian, you're voting and hold it over?
Yes.
Okay, you have to speak a little louder so we hear you.
Sorry.
Okay.
So 3-2 in favor of it holding over, right?
Okay, great. So this case will be held over until next month, and we'll see you then.
Okay,
All right?
take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I get really speaking in public.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, we also have the May minutes to approve. I'm assuming everyone had an opportunity to approve the May minutes, to look at the May minutes, rather?
Yes.
Everyone had the opportunity, Vivian, you saw it?
Yeah.
Saw it? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I will certainly make that motion.
Great. Do I have a second?
a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm going to abstain since I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. Great. Anything else before the board, before I proceed to close? Anything else before the board, before I proceed to close? Anything else before the board, before I proceed to close? There being none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, we'll see you in July.
Good night, everyone.